Hey everyone, it's Steph. Welcome back to my channel. Happy New Year! This is the first video I'm making in 2021, so that's pretty exciting. Today we're going to be talking specifically about books that I am anticipating for the upcoming year, books that I'm excited to read by authors that I have previously read and are just very, very happy with. So, I have my trusty new 2020 planner here, which I'm super psyched about, and I've got some great information here about what specifically I am keeping my eye out for this year in terms of reading. So I'm sure that you are thinking about the books that you want to read in 2021. So I hope that this video helps you and maybe introduces you to a few new authors or books that are coming up to keep on your radar. Alright, so we're going to go in chronological order. Most of these books actually come out in January 2021, which is really exciting because then you have access to all of them within the next few weeks. So here we go. First up, we have Best Laid Plans by Sarah Eden. This is a story, a love story, Regency romance about Newton and Ellie. And we get to see their story. This takes place in Bath. It's a continuation of the Jonquil Brothers series, but it's sort of an in-between story where we see characters from this world that Sarah Eden has created, from the Lancaster family as well as the Jonquil family that she has created. And we get to meet all these new characters, which is really great. A really, really enjoyable story. I had the privilege of getting to read this on New Year's Day, and it was just so good. If there's one pro to not being able to go anywhere, it's that there's more time for reading. So I'd rather be spending time with people, but you know, pandemic says otherwise, so making the best of it. Moving on, we have January 4th. This release was The Off Limits Rule. This is by Sarah Adams. I've not read her contemporary romances yet, but I've read her historical romances and they're fantastic. So I'm really interested to check this one out soon. This is about a girl who ends up moving in with her brother and starts to fall for her brother's best friend. I'm interested to see this because I've seen a lot of hype about it and I've read a lot of great reviews about it, so I'm really excited to check this book out soon. Next up, on January 5th, we have Dreams of Savannah. This is by Rosanna M. White. I've read her Codebreaker series last year and loved it, so I'm excited to check this one out. I've read the first few chapters because I had an advanced copy from NetGalley, but I just finished up an audiobook of Gone with the Wind, and when I started this book, I just thought, wow, this is so similar. So I'm definitely seeing some similarities between the setting. This is right before the Civil War. This is told from 3 different viewpoints. So we have the main girl, the main guy that she's interested, and then we have the main girl's maid slash best friend. We get to see the perspective of these 3. This is going to talk a little bit about the injustices of slavery and race, things of that nature. I haven't read all that much into it yet, but I'm interested to see what discussions this brings up. Also thought it was really interesting for a Civil War book. I've never read a Civil War book where we have a Civil War soldier who's out to sea. So I'm interested to learn a little bit more about this and see where this goes. Last up for January, we have January 12th. This is a book that I have read, raved about, and I'm so excited for it to be released. This is Jorgana's Secret. This is by Arlem Hawks, and this, I believe, is her first full-length novel. She's written other shorter stories and novellas, which I've read and are really great. So I'm really excited to have more people just read this book and have this book be out in the world because it was one of my top 2 books from 2020. So highly recommend. If you haven't checked that out, definitely check that out because it's a very enjoyable romance story with a hidden identity and a lot of great themes. A lot of just a really great story to enjoy. So I hope that you can check this out if you're interested in any of those themes. Next up, we're going to fast forward to April. This list does not include books from every single month of the year, so I'm just going to skip to the next month. April 20th of 2021, we have Winning the Gentleman by Christie Ann Hunter. I talked about Vying for the Viscount by her in my October or November wrap-up, I forget which one, of 2020, but this was such a good story. I was so glad I got to it, and I so enjoyed reading not only the main characters, but the side characters. And this book is about the side character from the first book. So I'm really excited to see where this goes. Really excited to read his story and see the world from his perspective because I really loved what he added to the dialogue and conversation and the story from the first one. So I'm excited to see this story come into play and see where it goes. Next up, we're going to go to May. I have 2 books for May. They both are released on the same day, May 4th. May the 4th be with you. First up, on May 4th, we have Let It Be Me by Becky Wade. This is a story, I believe it's a love triangle. She writes great characters with great stories, and it just feels like everybody's down to earth and very relatable, which I really like. And this is about, I believe, 2 guys who like the same girl. One who's liked her for a while, and one who meets her more recently and doesn't realize that his friend has been pining after her. So I'm interested to see where this goes. So it takes place in the South, in the small town. It's got all the Hallmark small town vibes. Really enjoyed the first one, so I'm interested to see where this goes with the second one. So I just realized that I forgot to include the second book of May. So the second book of May is Rosanna White's newest book, The Nature of a Lady. And this is another really interesting concept where we have this woman who vacations or goes to this cottage, and it turns out that something mysterious happened to the previous cottage owner slash resident, so she starts to investigate it. The woman who went missing, something suspicious happened. Her brother is also looking to figure out what happened to his sister. So these two start investigating together, and she writes romances, so I'm guessing that this is going to have a romance theme, but it has a mystery romance theme. It sounds really interesting, and I'm really surprised that she has two books releasing so close together. So January and May, like, whew, she is on a roll with these stories, and she just had one release in September. So I'm like, whew, it's a lot of books, a lot of ideas, a lot of writing. So I'm interested to see where this goes and see what comes with this story. So keep your eyes peeled for this one. Next up in July, we have Isn't It Romantic? This comes out July 20th. I really enjoyed reading the first three from the series. I'm so glad that she's continuing with them. I was hoping she wouldn't end at like a trilogy, because even though they're more adult romances and there's a little bit more steam, there's such great content, such great development with the characters, as well as the humor. The humor is just so good, so on point, and oh my gosh, it just makes me so excited to read more, because I always laugh out loud while reading her books. And it just cracks me up, the funny situations, the funny dialogue, and it's just very humorous, and it makes things a little bit lighter. So we need that in life, right? So I'm glad to have this book to look forward to next coming summer. Gosh, it feels like summer's so far away right now. But hey, one day it'll be here. Next up, and the last month of book releases on this list for now, is August. So in August of 2021, there are two books that I'm keeping my eye out for. The first is the next book by Jen Turano. This is called To Right or Wrong, and I really look forward to reading this character. She was kind of like the sidekick of book one, To Steal a Heart. She's a writer, she's kind of in her own little world, and she always has this notepad with her, and she's writing stuff down, and she asks questions that kind of come out of nowhere because she writes under a pen name because she's a woman. So it's like her writing identity is a secret, and she's really funny in the roundabout questions she asks to get more information to kind of build her characters and build her stories. I can't remember if she met a dude. Did she meet a dude at the end of this first one? I don't remember. I'm interested to see what that dynamic would be like for her in a romantic setting. So curious to see where this goes. To Right or Wrong by Jen Turano comes out on August 3rd, and then our last book by Sarah Eden comes out on August 17th. So this is the continuing story of the Penny Dreadful series that she has. We see Penny Dreadful authors that belong to this Penny Dreadful society, and they help the less fortunate and the poor. So we get to see that society, and then see all the Penny Dreadful authors, some of whom's identity is actually a secret. So that's really fun. And this is the third story in the series. I want to double check, because obviously by the cover, this is an Irish story. Penny Dreadful author within this society, who is Irish, has a sister, and both of the siblings are involved in the Penny Dreadful society. So I want to see which sibling this is about. Okay, it is Brogan. Okay, so we have Brogan, who comes from Ireland, is now in England, in London, and then it looks like we have Vera. Vera is from St. Petersburg, and now she's in London. So this is Victorian era. We have the story of the London Victorian era, and then we get to see little chapters, mini chapters of what's happening within the Penny Dreadful stories themselves. Sarah Eden really creatively weaves all those stories together so that the themes overlap and that the story becomes even all that more enjoyable to get to see how they all tie in together. Really creatively done, and it is also a really enjoyable series. So if you haven't checked out the other two, The Lady and the Highwayman and what just came out, The Gentleman and the Thief, that came out in November. So now we have Merchant and the Rogue. And I'm really hoping that we see some more great books come out this year. So I'm really excited to check these out. I'm really hoping that Sarah Eden announces when she's gonna release that last Jonquil book / Lancaster book. Are they gonna be one and the same? Are they gonna be two different things? What's happening? Please let me have answers. So yeah, I'm just keeping an eye on all my other authors that I talk about all the time on here, because if they have any novellas or short stories or new releases, I definitely want to keep my eyes on them. So I will keep my eyes peeled. Also hoping to read some more Agatha Christie's this year, and some more classics this year, but those are obviously not new releases. So I think I'll chat about those in another video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you get to find a new book that you can look forward to this year, and let me know in the comments what books you were looking forward to reading this year. Alright, I will chat with you guys soon. Thanks so much for watching and have a great day.